Good morning and welcome to Angel channel of the Divine Beings. Today's theory about free will, the third theory, that is compatibilistic theory, is to be discussed in brief so as we can understand that in free will how we are compromising our deterministic, indeterministic free will into a compatible kind of understanding. So compatibilism is the belief. It can be defined as a faith or a belief that free will and determinism are mutually compatible, and it is possible to believe also in both without being logically inconsistent. Compatibilists believe that freedom can be present or absent in situations for reasons that have nothing to do with metaphysics. So this faith here among compatibilists are very strong, that they can always compromise their situations, their principles, without being inconsistent with the two theories of determinism and the free will. Now, compatibilism is the philosophical view that even though we cannot control our thoughts and actions beyond the laws of physics or the dictates of the physics, we have hence no free will in the traditional sense. We have free will in a non-traditional sense. So here we can see that the universe, physics means the universe, the earth, the surrounding around us. Let us stop and understand for one moment what we are trying to read through, what we are trying to go through, what we are trying to imbibe from this note. This note of address comprehends that the universe around us do not have any kind of traditional sense of freedom actually, because the law of physics, that is the law of the universe, the dictates of the universe, are always compulsive upon us. So in a non-traditional sense we are trying to become free. That is compatibilism. Now those compatibilistic variety of free will vary or differ among different philosophers. Philosophers, of course, have argued about this view. Different philosophers have different views and opinions, based on which we can create a critical thought about compatibilistic attitude. Compatibilism is saying that we need a purely pragmatic matter of living together in the society to hold people responsible for their choices that they make. Usually compatibilism is hankering after one's own free will. If you hold someone responsible, you want to punish them. Sometimes you want to deter others, imposure of your own commands upon other people's lives and decision making. Instead of saying they had no choice, or I don't think I should do anything about it, what you do or what we do, we become compatibilist, because that's all that adheres to compatibilism's theory. So here this attitude of the acceptance that there was no other way that could have taken other than this way, or whatever is being done to them is okay with them. That is an attitude of non-interference, an attitude of non-obtrusiveness, I would say, is missing in compatibilism. You see, compatibilism, almost it's like a track which helps you to run through and jump into in the middle of some kind of people's decisions, lives and everything, being obtrusive, which is highly unacceptable, I think. So what things which are unacceptable, things which sound a bit deviated from the normalcy of thought, is definitely to be considered and studied by us before we correct ourselves or think that we are already correct in our thoughts. So in his book, the philosopher Caruso addressed another philosopher, Coelho, as wrong and accomplished the fact that people are responsible, but the kinds of responsibility is very different. So here you see one philosopher thinks that people are not responsible. Metaphysics is compulsive upon us. So compatibilistic theory is basically non-traditional theory. Traditionally we are compulsive, we are deterministic in attitude. But there is an argument between philosophers. Two of them I have mentioned here. There are numerous others who are arguing the fact of inclining towards it or deviating from it. Now, definition of compatibilism is different from different philosophers' views. So it would be relevant to make the personal view, not to be rigid here. So rigidity will not serve us with any answers, we can see. And the compatibilist people are, or they could be of people on the grounds of their future likelihood of committing crimes or need for rehabilitation. We can see that this compromising attitude in situations which are pressing upon people might this compromising attitude itself is a compatibilistic theory, okay, and this has a greater tendency, a greater inclination to lead the thought towards committing crimes. So Greg Caruso, who is not a compatibilist, saw the difference here, and he claimed that he does not need any concept of free will to see an important difference between these serious scenarios. Okay. Now we will discuss a little bit further about compatibilism. Compatibilism here is determinism, a kind of determinism with a slight modification. For the sake of appearances and for any language use, we can say it is a bit modified format of determinism. And in the position taken due to perceived need. Now determinism is what? Determinism is kind of blame game, you can say. If you read the theory, if you hear the lecture earlier upon determinism, you will understand that it is a blaming attitude. That something was done to me in my childhood, that trauma is making me do further more traumas and making me cause trauma in other people's lives. This is a huge, great, very comfort zone where you can sit, lounge, and you can sit and blame the every other experiences of your life for which you are committing today's crimes or today's mistakes are happening in your lives. So this is called determinism. Okay. Now determinism and compatibilism it does not differ much, because compatibilism is the understanding, a compromising attitude and the understanding of the determinism. That is a greater loop where you are allowing your determinism, I would say. So it is the position taken due to perceived need to have some idea of accountability, of responsibility for human behavior. This is a position where we have to have accountability, and if this is missing in our behavior, then we are in the trap of this compatibilistic attitude. In this position, human could be held accountable and responsible and blameworthy if they act according to their will and are not coerced or forced by external agents. Compatibilism is different from determinism in what way? Determinists believe that some experience have coerced them into today's situation or happenings of their lives where they stand. Whereas compatibilism believes that some kind of human accountability or responsibility or human intervention or external agents' intervention has led to the cause and the effect. So where is the difference? I don't see much of difference. A little bit of modification, but the inclination seems to be almost same. If the motives, goals or other factors that form the will are the results of prior events and experiences, and one so determined that does not nullify the idea that the human acts according to a will and has freedom of will. So this is the prior events are to be blamed, and you are not believing that you have a free will or you are acting according to your own will, then it is known as compatibilism, perhaps. Okay. Now humans are either free or they are not. There has to be two sides. There cannot be a middle path, two extremes. They either possess free will and can use it, or they do not have it at all. They either have it and can use it as often as they want to do so, or they have only to make decisions or choices devoid of prior influences that determine the outcome of the decision or choice making procedure. So please try to understand that you cannot take a middle path. Either you allow the whole life to be burdened with prior experiences, the cause and effect of those that are going on, that went on and now they are going on in the near future. The entire life is going to be affected by that. Or you take a stance, a decision, a side that nothing is going to be allowed. No cause and its effect is to be allowed in my present today. I will just do what I have to do. So these two paths are actually pragmatic. One is a dark one will take you towards the light, the latter one. But there is no middle path for sure. Humans are either free or they are not. This is the basic understanding. Now, there may be social or physical constraints, that is not the issue over here, but you have to understand the theory of approach. Okay. Now there may be repercussions or consequences for our actions, so that a prior person might want to say something like, I am not free to rob a bank, and by that mean that if they did, they would be pursued, they would be captured, imprisoned. So these are the repercussions, these are the thoughts that would come, that would haunt. Repercussion is nothing but haunting. The effect, that is the effect of the cause. So this effect, this haunting situation, this repercussion, that this aftermath that takes place, this is the consequence, okay, of such loose, such actions which are not concrete, which are very gullible. Now, for example, I can say free will to rob a bank and flee. Okay, then get freedom in this context of this particular example, as I told you, of the freedom, that is freedom versus determinism issue. It has a meaning that identifies it with possessing free will or being able to make choice for oneself. So robbing, stealing, or any kind of other heinous activities or crimes or mistakes, misconducts, all these have a choice. Either you're possessing a free will or being able to make choice for yourself not to choose it. There is no middle path for all this. And with this, I would, a note of criticism, I would end this discussion. Criticize compatibilism. The determinists criticize the compatibilists for, though there is similarity, a slight deviation, a slight modification, there is a critical issue also between the two faiths. Now, for claiming that there is any freedom at all. Now, determinists are criticizing compatibilists for claiming that there is any freedom at all. Determinists completely rely on non-freedom attitude. Okay, non-freedom. That means they totally blame situations, environments, experiences for their actions. Yesterday I had a childhood trauma, so today I am taking drugs for that. Now I am 50-year-old, I am taking drugs for 5-year-old trauma. Who's to blame? I myself to blame myself, or the situation that took place that is to be blamed? So here clarity of thought is very important for us to heal ourselves, to come out. Heal means to come out of the injury. And you try to understand the person who injured you is the sick one, not you. The person who misbehaved was at fault, not you. That person needs to work upon himself. That person needs to grieve, punish himself, rectify himself, etc. Whatever he needs to do, but not you. You are untouched. You neither deserve it, never did you deserve it, nor do you deserve anything of such now. You have nothing to do with it. So the baggage of that person is his burden, not yours. Why are you carrying the burden of others? So the determinists think that the compatibilists are defining freedom in a different manner in order to make the claim that there is some freedom of choice. This is the problem. Determinists have a view that compatibilists are leaving a space for freedom of choice, whereas determinists completely blame situations for their conduct. Whole life they'll go on doing things which are not to be done, just blaming prior experiences. See, for example, we have trauma bonds, we have sexual addictions, we have drug addictions, any kind of other alcohol addictions, we have any kind of dark habits like stealing, pilfering, manipulating, blaming others. Why these things come? Because we have always learned to blame situations for no fault of ours. So when you are not at any fault, why are you going to blame anyone? The word blame should not be active in your life at all. The people who have done the wrongs, let them do it and get out and have their consequences. You stand untouched. In 1 second, on the spur of the moment, just drop that burden and the baggage, because it's not yours. You have neither contemplated it, nor have you performed it, nor are you responsible for the conduct, nor will you get any consequences. Just feel free. Don't feel tempered. Don't feel, perturbed. Don't feel touched by things which you are not doing. So for this matter, you have to create a focus of yours, and in that focus you have to be stable, you have to be faithful, you have to be peaceful, you have to understand that come what may, go what may, I am not responsible for this experience. It was just a tide of time, that things came and went. But I stand strong as that bridge across the waves. The peak of it, the pinnacle of it cannot be touched. This faith is very important to secure yourself, to protect, to guard your ultimate truth, that is your soul. The determinists hold also the fact that all apparent decision makings or choices are determined by internal or external factors, including desires, motives, principles that are in turn the effects of prior causes. So can you see it is going to lead to greater, I would say, magnitude. The magnitude would multiply, it will become a heap, a mountain after that, and then it would be very, very difficult for us to carry. We will be buried under it because we are blaming the external and the internal factors, where we don't need to blame at all. If we don't take any blame for the situation, then we don't have any consequences for it also. So just give out the blame. Drop the blame. Whatever has happened, whatever is happening, it ought to have happened that way. All of us are here to learn something from situations. Situations and moments are only lessons for us, classes conducted by the above power for us. We are not here to take any blame or surrender any or or to blame anybody else also. We are just here to experience, see it. As I told you, stand out from your spirit. You, that is I and the spirit, they are two different things. The spirit is always holy. Does anybody's spirit is unholy, goes unholy? No, it does not. That is why the name Holy Spirit has come. Holy Spirit, Holy Spirit. Why? Because once you're connected with the holy thoughts, your spirit is holy. Now every spirit is holy. A spirit is just a flash of light. It cannot be dark. It is the I who brings the darkness. So separate that I from the spirit. Separate the light from the darkness, and you will stand outside of your light and see that you are bringing baggage into the internal light of yours. So this you or this I must leave the baggage outside. Those luggages, those burdens that doesn't belong to us, we need not fetch it for ourselves. This is the ultimate moral of our discussion today. And with this, I wish you a very happy, very blissful, very peaceful day, night, and years to come. With all my blessings from this desk of High Priestess, I wish you Almighty's blessings, most favored path for you to understand and accept. Thank you.